Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Houchins. I am the director of the doctoral program in educational leadership here at Western Kentucky University. And I want to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about our program, about the various components of the EdD and how the program works, and make available to you additional contact information where you can follow up with us if you have other questions about your eligibility for the program, about the admissions process, and about what your experience might be like here on the Hill as a part of our EdD community. First of all, I'd like to start out by talking about the basic mission of the program. And what you see on the screen here are the program outcomes for the WKU EdD. The point that I really want to draw your attention to is that second outcome there, developing scholarly practitioners. This is where WKU really tries to distinguish the EdD program, the Doctorate in Educational Leadership, from a traditional PhD program. Now, you'll see there in the lower left-hand corner that in 2019, Western became a part of the Carnegie Project on the Educational Doctorate, or CPED. And CPED was organized as a consortium of universities around the United States who offer EdD programs and who would like to clarify and strengthen the role and purpose of the EdD. And that purpose really can be summarized by this term, developing the scholarly practitioner. If you pursue an EdD, you may well be asked, why are you doing an EdD and not a PhD, and what is the difference? Well, the question about what is the difference has long vexed people who work in the space of education and terminal degrees. But to us, this is the key difference. Our program is not preparing you to be a statistician, although you are going to certainly develop your statistic skills. It's not preparing you to be a professional researcher, although again, you are going to grow in your knowledge and capacity to use research tools for solving problems. Our program is not designed to turn you into a university faculty member, although some of our graduates have gone on to serve in those kinds of roles. What we're looking for in this program, rather, are people who are already leaders in their organizations and who intend to continue to work in their field, perhaps growing in their rank or moving up within their organizations and taking on higher levels of leadership and responsibility. And certainly their doctoral program is designed to help them do that. But above all, we're looking to prepare you to be more effective as a leader in your current role. In other words, we expect that you will remain a practitioner, and that's why this is considered a practitioner's doctorate, but that you would begin to be able to think about your work through a scholarly lens, and you would be able to bring that rigorous knowledge of research and scholarship to solving real-world practical problems in your own work context. That's the goal of the EdD, and we believe that we have made enhancements to our program here at WKU to really strengthen that particular program outcome. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. On this next slide here, you see, again, our values, mission, and purpose. And again, right there in the center of the screen, that idea of growing you as a scholarly practitioner. A key way that we are doing this at WKU is through an improvement science approach. And we've been experimenting over recent years with specialized cohorts using an improvement science model. Beginning this year and moving forward, our intention is that all cohorts within the doctoral program will be based on an improvement science approach. Now, improvement science really emerges from the world of business management. In the mid-20th century, people like Deming were pioneering work around continuous improvement cycles in manufacturing and other types of businesses and industries. But over the decades, improvement science became a powerful tool to be used in other fields as well, including healthcare and now in education, at both the P12 and the higher education level. The idea behind improvement science is that we identify a problem of practice that is sort of endemic to our organizational context, and then we deploy cycles of intervention that are designed to make an impact on that problem and to gather data, both qualitative and quantitative, in ways that help us see what effect our intervention strategies are actually having on our organization and on our stakeholders, so that each time we begin a new cycle of intervention, we are doing so with far more effectiveness and impact than we did in the previous cycle. That's the heart and the essence of our program. So I want to show you a little bit about how that begins to translate into the coursework that you might experience here at WKU. So you can think about the courses that you will take in this program in three buckets. The first of those would be the leadership core of the program. You see that there on the left-hand side of your screen. That's essentially 12 credit hours of coursework focused on leadership theory, focused on ethics, clarifying your own strengths and growth areas as a leader, and developing practical tools for how you can grow and progress in your effectiveness as a leader. Then if we jump over to the far right-hand side, you see the elective component of the program. And this is roughly 24 credit hours that allow you to do some degree of specialization, to take classes that might be unique to you and your own professional goals and trajectory. And one of the things that we provide for you is if you have graduate level coursework beyond your master's degree experience, we can take a look at those courses, and if they are within a certain time frame of your completion of the doctoral program, we can potentially use those as transfer credits. We say 15 credit hours. That's pretty standard. Depending on your background and experience and the age of the courses, we could possibly go beyond that 15 credit hours. I should also note here that occasionally we have specialized cohorts within the program with a particular focus. And when we have those kinds of closed special cohorts, then sometimes we offer cohort-specific classes that would also fit with this elective component that are related to the theme of the cohort. In the middle of the screen, you see our improvement science core. And these classes are essentially where you're going to develop your research skills and carry out your dissertation project, which at WKU we call a dissertation in practice, to emphasize that improvement science framework that is at the heart of the program. Now, what you see there is 24 credit hours. In fact, those aren't all traditional classes. The first three classes that you see there, 712, 722, and 732, or EDFN 603, those are traditional classes in the sense that you'll be in class with your cohort and an instructor learning together on a regular basis. But the remaining courses, 797, and then the 6 hours of 798 and the 6 hours of 799, are experiences. Those represent the times when you're actually going to be carrying out components of your dissertation project under the direction of your chair and committee. So those won't be classes in the traditional sense. That's when you'll be actually doing your dissertation in practice and earning class credit as you go. Unlike a traditional doctoral program where you take 2 or 3 years of classes and then you start a dissertation, which might take you another 1, 2, or 3 years, in our program, we are attempting to build the components of the dissertation into the coursework itself. And in doing so, we intend to shorten the amount of time that it takes to complete the doctoral program, but also provide a regular system of structure and support so that you can complete the various elements of your dissertation as you are taking your classes. So let's take a look at what that might look like in practice. what you see on the screen here is an anticipated sequence of courses and then the deliverable components of your dissertation and practice that might go during each of these terms. And we say terms here because typically in our program, our cohorts operate year-round. So our cohorts will take usually 6 credit hours together, fall, spring, and summer. And so what you can see here is that assuming that you had those 15 credit hours to bring in with you, you could theoretically complete this program in about 8 or 9 terms, or the period of about 3 years. Now that will vary for each individual, depending on what's going on in your life, and if you have to slow down in your dissertation and practice process, or you need to take a break from classes, then obviously that could make it take longer. But this is the anticipated sequence for someone who has those 15 transfer hours that they can bring in with them, and is able to kind of maintain trajectory with their cohort. And so just to break down that dissertation and practice a little more and help you understand what that looks like, the entire experience begins in that very first term of your program, where you are doing your introduction to improvement science, and you're seeking to identify a problem of practice, because that's the foundation of the entire dissertation experience, is starting with a problem. This would be the kind of ordinary, everyday challenge that you face in your work, and that other people who are in similar roles to you and in similar kinds of organizations would readily recognize as one of the common problems that they encounter on a daily basis. These are the kinds of complex problems that don't have easy, straightforward solutions, the kind of issues that might keep you up at night if you wind up thinking about your work in the middle of the night. Often what is vexing you are these kinds of deep systemic problems of practice. That's where the entire experience begins. And what you do is take a deep dive into that problem of practice and the research literature and the theoretical literature that surrounds that problem. So part of what you're trying to do is understand, how have researchers studied that problem of practice across a variety of contexts? What's the nature of the problem? What have researchers or practitioners identified as the key sources of that problem? And what are some of the strategies that have been attempted in the past to address that problem? And what has been the efficacy of various strategies for trying to make an impact on that problem? All of that is informing the literature review that you are writing in the second term of the program, and the first chapter of your dissertation and practice, which is essentially an introduction to your problem. Then by the third term, you're working on chapter 2, which is the beginning of 3 cycles of inquiry or research that will define your dissertation and practice. And that first cycle of inquiry or research is called the root cause analysis. This will be in chapter 2 of your dissertation. And essentially, this involves doing a mini study of the problem of practice within your particular work context. And so it involves both quantitative and qualitative data collection. So you will be deploying surveys and questionnaires. You'll be doing interviews and focus groups with stakeholders within your organization that have some direct experience of the problem of practice. Depending on the nature of your institution, that could mean students and faculty or staff, parents, clients, customers, community leaders, other people who have some understanding of this problem, so that you can understand what is unique about this problem of practice in your specific context, and what are some of the root causes or sources of this problem that might point you toward effective intervention strategies that could make a difference. So that sets you up then in your fourth term to begin to develop an intervention plan. And this then becomes, in the next term, your chapter 3, which is your first intervention cycle. And the goal with that intervention cycle is to design something that is complex enough and big enough that you can have some confidence that you'll have a measurable impact on your problem of practice. But it can't be too vast, because we want you to be able to carry out that intervention in a period of about 12 weeks or about 3 months, and then still have another month left over within an academic term to review the research data that you've gathered. Again, quantitative data and qualitative data about whether the intervention worked and how it worked or did not work. This is important because then this sets you up for chapter 4, which is going to be your second cycle of intervention. So you've learned lessons from that first cycle. You figured out which parts of the intervention worked, which parts did not. You have realized, oh, I forgot this important element that really needed to be a part of the intervention. And so you get a chance to do it again based on the data you've gathered and the lessons you've learned from the first intervention cycle. This makes up chapter 4, which is beginning to bring you toward the end of your dissertation in practice journey. Because in chapter 5, which is typically going to be done in your last or second to last term, you're going to be writing up your conclusions, your recommendations, and preparing for your dissertation in practice defense at the conclusion of your doctoral journey. What you will have at the end of this is not just the completion of a degree requirement. That's a nice bonus. You'll complete the degree. People will call you doctor. You'll have this credential for your resume, which is obviously very valuable to you personally. But the dissertation in practice itself is intended to be valuable to your workplace, to your organization, to the stakeholders that you serve. And it will also have important implications for anyone who is similarly situated to you professionally. People who share your kind of role, your kind of organization, or are concerned about your particular problem of practice can learn valuable lessons from your experience. And now you're set up to actually begin the cycle all over again, albeit not necessarily as a part of a dissertation, but as you carry out your work responsibilities as a leader within your organization, you can build on what you've learned through the dissertation and practice to engage in ongoing cycles of organizational improvement. And we believe that makes WKU's EdD unique and powerful, and hopefully very inviting to you, regardless of how you are situated professionally or what your role might be. Just a couple of notes about our program. Other than some particular closed cohorts that experience a hybrid delivery model with a blend of both online and face-to-face components, most of our cohorts in the doctoral program are fully online with some synchronous online components. So coursework is going to be delivered online, but there may be expectations that on certain Saturdays of the semester, certain evenings, there will be online components where everyone is logged on together via Zoom or some other platform. You'll take your classes in a cohort with a group of people who will become your friends and comrades in this journey. They will become a very important part of your professional network. And so even though you will be interacting with them online a lot, we want you to have the opportunity to try to build some genuine community with them. And so that's where the synchronous online components come to bear. Also, each cohort is expected to do a summer residency at least once during their doctoral program. And that summer residency is a 4-day learning experience that we have here on WKU's main campus in Bowling Green. And that's typically conducted every other year. And so depending on when you come into the program, that will dictate when that 4-day summer residency experience will be conducted. We put those dates out as far in advance as we possibly can so that you know how to prepare accordingly. Right now, we are admitting for the fall, and because it's important for us to know it's important for us to be able to plan for the number of students that we're going to have. Obviously, we encourage you to apply early. if at all possible. But the bottom line is that you need to reach out to us and let us know, even if you're not ready to apply, that you're interested in the program so that we can begin planning ahead for the next academic term. And so with that in mind, I encourage you to contact me. Again, my name's Gary Houchins, and you see my email address there on the screen, gary.houchins, Houchens, at WKU.edu. If you have questions, if you want to ask about your particular transcripts and what might transfer into the program, or if you have questions that I haven't addressed in this presentation already, we invite you to follow us on various social media so that you can be aware of updates in the program and other important admissions deadlines and processes. So thank you so much for your interest in the doctoral journey, potentially taking it here at WKU with us. We'd love to meet you and find out more about your professional goals and how we can help you accomplish them. So we look forward to seeing you soon.